Come find a comfortable seat. Wait, I'm gonna change this view. Gallery view. Yeah. Find a comfortable seat. Welcome to Star Wars Yoga, or AKA Jedi training. Um, as I started to learn more about yoga, I realized that yoga philosophy was reminding me of something, and what it was reminding me of was Star Wars. And so Jedi philosophy actually steals a lot from yoga philosophy and also probably Buddhism, but we're going to focus on yoga. And the other major thing that like the Jedi and yogis have in common is it's two things that sort of join like a philosophy slash religion with an athletic practice. So that's what we're doing here today. All right. Close your eyes. Rest your hands on your knees. Take a deep inhale and a long exhale. Take a deep inhale and a long exhale. Start to make your breaths even in length. See if you can constrict your throat to make kind of a Darth Vader sound, or a sound like you're fogging up a mirror on the inhale and exhale. So in yoga, we call breathing exercises pranayama, which is the practice of life force exercises. The breath is our life force, which is similar to the force in Star Wars. Obi-Wan tells us that the force is an energy field created by all living things, surrounding us, penetrating us, and binding us together. So as you breathe in, take your right hand and put it on the ground. And exhale, and imagine your connection with the earth and with all living things. Inhale, imagine your connection with each other, with your fellow classmates. And exhale. On an inhale, open your eyes, reach your arms up overhead, look up between your hands. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, interlace your fingers, flip your palms, send your palms toward the ceiling. Exhale, keep your hands together and just pull them forward in front of your chest, letting your back stretch. And then bring your hands together in front of your heart and start to roll your wrists out. And imagine that you're the Star Wars kid in the YouTube video pretending that you have a lightsaber. That's kind of the motion we're going for here. And then roll in the other direction, roll your wrists out. And let it go, shake it out. Okay, and we're gonna do another wrist exercise. We're gonna pretend like we're Emperor Palpatine shooting lightning from our fingertips. So take your hands together, your fingertips touching your thumbs, and then exhale, make your hands really wide, shoot the lightning out. Inhale, exhale, just keep going. Sith exercise. This is gonna be really goofy, you guys, so you just gotta bear with me. Start to feel your forearms warm up, really feel the force flowing through your arms. Everything starts to get a little tired. Just keep going. Reach your arms up overhead. And exhale, let it go. We're going to roll onto our hands and knees. You can use a towel or a blanket to pad your knees if you like. Plant your palms underneath your shoulders, knees under hips. On an inhale, drop your belly, look forward, cow pose. Exhale, curl your spine, look at your knees, cat pose. Keep going at your own pace, following your breath. And roll out your spine in one direction, stripper cat. And roll in the other direction, getting your hips and your shoulders involved, warming up your spine. Turn to the left, look at your butt, wiggle your butt. Turn to the right, look at your butt from the other side, wiggle your butt. And come to face forward, tabletop. We are going to shift our shoulders forward so they're a little past our wrists, and then bend our arms, lowering ourselves halfway down. And then on an inhale, push the ground away, come back up. So we're doing like a modified push-up here. So it's like a half chaturanga, but then we're coming back up and do a push-up. So exhale, lower halfway down. Inhale, push the ground away. And just do 5 more of these at your own pace. We're going to work our biceps and our triceps, all those great arm muscles that Luke has in The Empire Strikes Back. Jedi have to be super built. I lost count, so we're going to say that that's 5. And then send your hips back by your heels. Let your forehead rest on the ground and breathe in child's pose. And if you're watching The Mandalorian, you can think of this as the child's pose or Baby Yoda pose. And you can come back to Baby Yoda pose anytime during class when you need a break. After Baby Yoda uses the Force, he has to take a really long nap, so breaks are allowed for Jedi. Then come back up to tabletop. And on an inhale, lift your right leg behind you. And I want you to really feel your glute activate. Lower your right hip a little bit so it's in line with your left hip. Push through the back of your heel. Your feet are flexed. And see if you can lift up a little higher from the glute muscle. Feel the whole muscular chain of your back body activating from your shoulders all the way down through your lifted heel. And then lift your left arm, so opposite arm. And then on an exhale, bring your elbow toward your knee, curl your back, see if you can get them to touch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. One more. Inhale, extend. And then plant the palm, bring your knee back down. And we're going to do the opposite leg. So lift your left leg. We're just going to focus on the leg. So flex your foot, push into your heel. See if you can feel your glute lifting. See if you can feel your inner left thigh lifting. So rotate your leg inward, like an inner rotation of the leg while you're lifting up. And then lift your right arm. And then bring your knee toward your elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, pull together. Activate your abs as you do this. It's just as simple as imagining your belly button going towards your spine. It'll help support your back during this move. One more. And then come back to tabletop. And kick your right leg out to the side and come up onto a supported side plank with your right knee down and your left leg straight. And then on an inhale, see if you can lift your left leg off the ground. And then just take a second to notice your outer left hip. That really should be where you're feeling this lift from. Really press your foot into an invisible wall. And then see if you can rotate your inner thigh downward and lift up through your outer glute. And then put your leg back down. Come back to tabletop and we'll do the other side. So kick your left leg out and come up into a side plank. Lift your right leg up. And then just feel the whole chain of your leg gliding up. You should feel your outer hip, your glute, your kneecap engaged, your foot flexed and pressing. Feel the lift from the inside of your leg. Feel your obliques helping. And then exhale, come back down to tabletop. Do a cat-cow. Shift forward over your wrists. Lower halfway down, supported chaturanga. And then lower yourself all the way down to the ground. You can drop your forehead to the ground. Send your arms behind you, hands face down. And you might want to shift your hips back and forth, find a comfortable spot because we're going to put our weight towards our pelvis in a second. Inhale, lift your forehead, lift your chest, lift your shoulders. Take another breath, lift your hands off the ground, and then finally lift your feet up. Send the soles of your feet toward the ceiling. For your body, you might try taking your legs a little wider or taking them a little narrower and see what hip distance gives you the most lift. Reach a little more and exhale, lower down. Plant your palms underneath your shoulders. Plant the tops of your feet into the ground. Push the ground away. Bhujangasana, baby cobra. Look forward, roll your shoulders back. Exhale, curl your toes under. Push all the way up into a plank. And then lift your hips high. Push the ground away, downward facing dog. So I'm going to talk to you for a second a little bit about your down dog. Just notice how your body feels today in this pose. See if you can put more weight into your thumb and your pointer finger on your hands and less in your pinky finger. Roll your upper armpits towards your face. Push the ground further away. Feel your shoulders come toward your ears. If your hamstrings are tight, you can micro bend your knees. You can bend them a lot. You can take your feet wider. All of those things will help. And then we're going to do something a little hard here. If you don't already think this is hard, sorry. Bend your arms, bend your elbows wide. So we're going to do a push-up here. Bend your elbows wide. Let your forehead come towards the ground. And then push the ground away. Just do it as much as you can. Down dog push-ups. Lower your head. Push the ground away. Inhale, lower. Exhale, push away. One more. Inhale, lower. Exhale, push away. Lift up your heels. Bend your knees. Look forward between your palms. Step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring your spine long. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Look up between your fingertips. Exhale, hands to heart center. Neutral spine, neutral pelvis. Rest here. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Look between your hands. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step or hop back into plank. Any version of chaturanga that you like. Lower halfway down. You can support yourself with your knees here. Flip your toes. And then lift your chest up either into Bhujangasana or upward facing dog. If you're an up dog, your knees are off the ground. And then exhale, tuck your toes, send your hips high, downward facing dog. Breathe here, 5 breaths. So Obi-Wan tells Luke, your eyes can deceive you. And then asks him to practice with his eyes closed. So we're going to do that sun salutation that we just did another 3 times with our eyes closed. If you can't, you can open them. I will give you cues, but just see if you can be aware of your body in space. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Lift your head as though you're looking between your fingertips. Exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana Samastitihi. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. You can bring your palms together as you fold. Plant your palms on the ground. Step back into plank. Exhale, lower halfway down, Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, flip your toes, send your hips high, downward facing dog. Breathe here, 5 breaths. So it's not necessarily literal that our sight can deceive us, but in yoga we talk about wrong seeing, ways that we are ignorant, ways that we are confused, ways that our preconceptions color our perception of the world. So you want to let go of your preconceptions to see if you can see the truth. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, look up between your hands. Exhale, hands to heart center. Our eyes are still closed if you like. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Find your mat with your palms. Step back into plank. Lower your knees if you like. Lower halfway down, Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Look forward. Exhale, tuck your toes. Send your hips high, downward facing dog. Breathe here, rest here. So in what parts of our life can we let go of our preconceptions? Can we examine our perspective? Can we let go of wrong seeing and be open-minded to the possibility that things might be different, that things might be more possible? Inhale, lift your hips high. Exhale, bend your knees. Step to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up between your hands. Exhale, hands to heart center. Our eyes are still shut. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step back to plank. Lower your knees if you like. Lower your arms, bending your arms halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Open your eyes if you like. Breathe here. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Really kick back the heel, feel your glute engaged. Exhale, bend your knee, bring it forward towards your chest. Step your foot between your hands. Lower your left knee down. Lift up your chest, lift up your arms. Low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Breathe here. And then exhale, bring your hands to the mat, walk your hands back, lift your heel up. Half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. So our back is long and you should really feel a stretch along your hamstrings, along the lower part of your right leg. Walk your hands back forward, rebend your knee. Plant your palms, step to the front of the mat. Our feet are parallel. They might be together or they might be hips width distant apart, but notice that the outside edges of your feet are parallel to the outside edges of your mat. And then drop your hips low, lift your arms high, chair pose. Engage your low abs to protect your low back. Sit a little lower, lift a little higher. Our weight is in the heels. Good job, guys. Exhale, forward fold. Touch the ground. Send your right foot back into space. Lower your right knee. Anjaneyasana, left side, low lunge, lift up. Look forward. Bring your hands back to the ground. Walk your hands back. Lift up your toes. I always tent up onto my fingertips here to give my back and my hips a little bit more space. And then walk your hands back forward. Plant your palms. Step back to plank. Move through your version of your flow. And send your hips high. Down dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale, bring it forward between your palms. Lift up into high lunge. You might want to walk your right foot to the right a little bit to give yourself a wider stance. And then feel yourself on the ball of your left foot. Feel your heel above your toes. Feel your kneecap engage. Feel your glute engage. Really work on that back leg here. When your arms are overhead, peel them back into a cactus shape. Look up, mini back bend. Exhale, straighten your arms overhead. Drop your hands, plant your palms. Step back to plank. Lower halfway down. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. And you can skip that whenever you like. You do not have to do a million chaturangas. You can just meet us in down dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, step it forward between your hands. Lift up into high lunge. And again, we're going to focus on our right leg here. So really engage your right kneecap, your right glute. Feel that leg lifting in space. Feeling the back part of your leg lifting up toward the wall or the ceiling behind you. With your arms overhead, peel your arms open into a cactus shape, mini back bend, top of your back. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, plant your palms. Step forward, front of the mat. Sink your hips low, lift your arms high. Utkatasana, chair pose. And then see if you can lift your toes off the ground so your weight is completely in your heels. Send your knees back a little further in space. Maybe sit a little lower. And if that's too hard, you can come out of it. You can have a high chair. You can be sitting up here. That's fine. And then exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step back to plank. Move through your flow. Or come into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale, step it forward between your hands. Walk it to the right a little bit. Drop your left heel down. Come up into warrior one. So in warrior one, our left toes are pointed towards the upper left corner of our mat. Each leg is in its own lane, like on train tracks. Bring your low belly in. Feel like you're squeezing your belly button toward your spine. Engage your back leg. Lift your arms up. Exhale, bring your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Open up your elbows. See if you can straighten your arms. And then start to lower your chest, bringing your shoulder inside your knee, dropping your head down. Humble warrior. Inhale, lift up. Lift your arms up high. Exhale, send your hands behind you so your palms are face down. Lean your chest forward. Come up onto your back toes. And we're going to go for warrior three in a second. So move your weight towards your right foot And then on an inhale, straighten your right leg, lift your left leg up, look down, airplane arms. The airplane arms will help you balance. Drop your left hip bone low, and then really light up the back of your left leg. Feel your kneecap engaged, feel your glute engaged, feel your foot kicking toward an invisible back wall. Really strong through your lifted leg. You can bring your arms forward in front of you if you have the space, or to heart center, to prayer hands. And then exhale, drop your fingers down, step back into space, plant your palms, come into plank and move through your flow. Breathe here, treating down dog as a resting pose. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, step it forward between your palms. Walk to the left a little bit. Drop your right heel down, lift up into warrior one. Engage your low belly, knit your ribs together, and then really focus on the back of your right leg, feeling your glute engaged, feeling those back muscles of your leg lighting up. Interlace your fingers at the small of your back the wrong way. You can start to straighten your arms, and then lower your chest. Looking down, see if you can drop your left shoulder inside of your left knee. You can walk your left foot out a little bit, taking a wider stance. Humble warrior. So a Jedi avoids violence at all costs and seeks to keep the peace. So in humble warrior, we are announcing that we are humble like the Jedi. Inhale, lift up, warrior one. Lift your right heel off the ground. Send your palms to face down behind you near your hips. Look forward about a foot or two in front of your left foot, and we're going to lift up into warrior three, straightening our left leg, lifting our right leg behind us, pointing our toes down, and really lighting up the whole back of our right leg, engaging our glute, kicking our heel into the wall. Everything we've been doing earlier in this class and the other poses, do here. It will help you find your balance. You can do any arm variation that you like, hands to heart center, arms in front of you. Breathe here. And then think about warrior one and set your foot back down behind you. Good job, guys. Take your hands to the mat and sit back into child's pose, baby Yoda pose. Breathe here. Walk your hands forward. Lay down on the mat, prone position. Bring your arms out to the sides in like a cactus shape. And on an inhale, we're going to come into locust. So lift your head, lift your chest, lift your arms in line with your chest, and then lift your feet, sending the bottoms of your feet toward the ceiling. Breathe here. Engage your whole back body. Work those upper back muscles. You are strong. Exhale, lower to the ground. And walk yourself back into child's pose. So in yoga, there's this concept of samskara. Samskaras are like scars. They're like patterns that we carry around with us, that we reenact again and again. They're negative beliefs that we have about our capabilities. They are negative patterns that we find ourselves engaging in continually. And To alleviate our suffering, to grow, to follow our dharma, we have to break free. We have to recognize and break free of these samskaras. Yoda tells Luke, you must unlearn what you have learned, which is talking about breaking free of the samskaras. So in our practice, in our yoga practice, it might be a pose that you think you can't do. It might be a belief like I'm not strong enough, or I'm not flexible enough, or I'm not good at choreography. I can't do fast yoga. See if you can let go of those beliefs in your practice and push yourself to do things you thought you couldn't do before. Yeah. Walk forward into plank. Send your hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, bring it forward between your hands. Drop your left heel down and lift up into warrior two. Activate the outside of your left foot. Flip your palm to face the ceiling, your right palm. Exhale, peaceful warrior. Reverse your warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, right hand to right thigh. Lift your left arm up. Your bicep comes near your ear. Your shoulder can come up. And feel a long line from your left foot to your left fingertips. And if you want, you can drop your right hand down to a prop or to the ground, or try it, tent up onto your fingertips. Jen, that looks really good. If you feel your chest collapsing, just lift it back up. And then see if you can bring your left arm behind your back, reaching for your right thigh, half bind. Keep breathing, keep engaging your legs. Engage your back leg here so all your weight isn't dumping into your right leg. And if it's in your practice, you can fully bind here. And if it's not, you can just try reaching your arm for a second to see how close you can get to your other fingers. And then exhale, come back up, release. Cartwheel your hands, plant the palms, move through your flow, or step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, step it forward between your fingertips. Drop your right heel down, lift up into warrior two. On an inhale, flip your left hand to face the ceiling. Exhale, reach up, 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 and back. Reverse your warrior, peaceful warrior. Inhale, warrior two, Virabhadrasana two. Exhale, take your arm to your thigh. Lift your right arm up overhead. Side angle pose. And start to work into the variation you did on the other side, noticing if it feels different on this side. Being mindful of your experience of the pose. You can half bind. You can attempt to fully bind. Letting go of those samskaras, unlearning what you've learned, trying something new. Inhale, come back up into warrior two. Cartwheel your hands to the ground. Step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, step it forward between your hands. Come back into warrior two on your right side, right foot forward. We're just going to do a mini flow here. So reverse your warrior, exhale. Warrior two, inhale. Side angle, exhale. Warrior two, inhale. Straighten your right leg, heel toe your left foot in. You can take your left arm to your hip and start to reach forward with your right hand, letting your left hip come up. I'm a little teapot. And then exhale, you can let your right arm come down, lift your left arm up, triangle pose. Now, if you have a prop here, that's a great place to put your right hand. You can take the block in front of your foot or behind your foot. See if you can lift up through your right core, though, holding your spine long. Yeah, those were great adjustments. All right, now rebend your leg, come back to warrior two. Definitely grab a prop if you have one. Place it 6 to 10 inches in front of your right foot and slightly to the right. We're going to put our hand here. We're coming into half moon pose. So on an inhale, straighten your right leg, lift your left leg high, stamping your foot into an invisible back wall, lifting from your outer hip like we did at the beginning of class when we did this in gate pose. You can reach your left arm to the sky, find a spot to stare at, breathe here, and then think about warrior two, and exhale, come back to warrior two. Great job. Face all 10 toes toward the long side of your mat. Turn them in a little bit. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold forward, plant your palms. Walk your palms back towards your feet a little bit. Let your head hang heavy. Breathe here. Inhale, halfway lift. Come all the way up. And then just take your left foot and turn it so it faces the short edge of your mat. Bend your left knee, warrior two on the left side. Lift your arms up. Reverse your warrior, exhale. Warrior two, inhale. You know these poses. Side angle, exhale. Warrior two, inhale. Straighten your left leg. Heel toe your right foot in once or twice. Take your right arm to your right hip. Stretch forward. I'm a little teapot. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Let your right hip come up. And then exhale, bring your left arm down. Reach your right arm high. The top of your head is reaching toward the short edge of your mat, reaching forward in space. Breathe here. When you come to the edge of the pose, keep pushing yourself. See if you can go a little further. And then exhale, come back up. Rebend your knee like we're in a shortened warrior two. Grab a prop, place it 6 to 10 inches in front of your left foot. And then on an inhale, straighten your left leg, lift your right leg high. Your hips are open toward the side of the room, like when we were in triangle. Your foot is stamping into an invisible wall behind you, and you are lifting out from your outer right hip. You feel that. You can bring your arm high, breathe here. Think about warrior two. One more breath here. And then exhale, come back gently down to warrior two. Turn to the side of your mat. Face all of your toes out a little bit and bring your heels in. And then on an exhale, bend your knees, sweep your arms up overhead, goddess pose. Or as we say today in Star Wars yoga, Our Lady of the Galaxy, Leia pose. Yeah, breathe here. We're going to do a mini flow. So inhale, straighten your legs, sweep your arms up, look up between your hands. Small back bend at the top of your back. Exhale, hands to heart center, bend your knees. Inhale, reach up, look up, straighten your legs. Exhale, come back to lay a pose, bend your knees. And just move through these two poses at your own speed, following your own breath. So Yoda and Obi-Wan talk about the dangers of the dark side of the Force, fear, anger, suffering, attachment. And none of us are really in danger of becoming evil, but we might be in danger of engaging in those things and bringing suffering into our lives. And Luke asks Obi-Wan, how do you know if you're on the right path? Oh wait, he asks Yoda this, how do you know if you're on the right path? How will you know if it's the dark side or the light side? And Obi-Wan, no, sorry guys, oh my God, I gotta practice. Yoda says, you will know when you are calm, when you are at peace, when your mind is clear. So as we move through this flow, see if you can calm your mind. And then drop your hands to the ground. Walk your feet together a little bit. They should be about hips distance apart. Your toes are still faced out. Inhale, lift up your chest. Exhale, bend your knees, Malasana. So we're sitting low. Your hips can be up by your knees or they can be down by your heels. Your elbows are inside your knees. You're engaging your abs to help your low back in this pose so your back isn't doing all of the work. Breathe here. And then we're going to do the same thing we were just doing in goddess pose. So on an inhale, straighten your legs, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center, come back into the squat. And we'll just move through this flow, calming our mind, being in the moment, focusing on the two poses. Three more. And once you're in Malasana, you can just take your hands, walk yourself back to a forward fold facing the short edge of your mat. Exhale. Walk your hands forward, walk your feet back until you are in plank pose. You can lower your knees if you like. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, Bhujangasana or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Exhale, hips high. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale, your right leg high behind you. Exhale, step it forward to the outside of your right foot. Lift up your chest, look forward. Roll your shoulders back. Stay up on your back toes. We're just going to be in this strengthening version of lizard for a breath or two. And then you can lower your knee down. You can untuck your toes if you like. Really sink into your hips here. You can let your knee flare out if you like. That might help. And if you want, you can lower onto your forearms if that's in your practice. You must unlearn what you have learned. So if you carry around a voice in your head that says, I am not flexible, let go of that now, because flexibility can be learned. And then tuck your back toes, lift your knee up, walk your hands forward, and then we'll just walk heel toe your right foot over to the side, drop your right knee down outside your right wrist. You can take your heel in toward your pelvis a little bit, drop your back leg down, and we should be in pigeon here. So if that didn't make sense, just find pigeon. Inhale, lift your chest up, hold yourself here. Actually, engage your left glute for a second. See if you can take your hands to your hips and hold your chest up. If you can't, you can use your arms for balance, but make this a strengthening pose. And then exhale, you can let that go and lay yourself down. Walk your hands forward. Your forehead can find the mat. And if you have a blanket or a pillow, you can always put that under your right hip if that makes you more comfortable. And then walk your hands in, tuck your left toes, lift up into down dog. You can take a three-legged dog and just stretch your leg and your hip out any way you like. And then come to downward facing dog. Lift your left leg high. Exhale, step it forward outside of your left foot. Drop your right knee down. Just stay here in lizard. You can lower onto your forearms if that's in your practice. You can let your left knee flare out a little bit and feel this deep hip stretch. And then untuck, come up onto your right toes. Walk your hands forward a little bit and heel toe your left foot over, coming into pigeon pose. You can take your heel a little closer to your pelvis. Drop your right knee down. You can take your hands to your hips. See if you can lift up into a strengthening pose here. You can have your arms to the ground for support. And then exhale, drop it down. Walk your arms forward. Rest your head, pigeon pose. Breathe here. So the force is in all living beings. The force flows through us. It is part of us. It is the life force. Essentially, it is saying that we are the same as everything else, that we are one with everything, that there is something deep inside us, underneath our ego, underneath the stories we tell ourselves, underneath our personality, that is one with everyone else, that is one with the divine. Walk your hands in, untuck your back toes, retuck your back toes, lift up into downward facing dog. You can take a three-legged dog and stretch your hips out however you like. You can walk your feet toward your hands, sit down, roll onto your back. You can take your knees above your hips and then drop them down to the right. Look over your left shoulder to the left. If you have a lot of space, you can take your arms wide. If you have less space, you can take your arms in a little cactus shape. Then bring your knees back over your hips and drop them down to the left. Look over your right shoulder. Let your shoulder be heavy. Drop toward the ground, opening up your chest. And then bring your knees back to center. Grab onto the outsides of your feet. Let your low back touch the mat. Happy baby. Happy baby Yoda. You can stretch out one leg and then the other. Just really let this pose feel good. And then drop your legs to the ground. Take your heels wide. If you have props, I'm going to recommend how you use them. So you can take a little blanket or something and put it under your knees, supporting your low back. You can take another blanket or pillow, put it underneath your head, really cradling your head in space. Feeling super comfortable in our Shavasana. And let it go. You can take your arms wide. And as you lay here, see if you can make your breath even in length. Your inhale the same length as your exhale. So Yoda tells Luke, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. Asking Luke to remember our true nature, what's underneath our bodies, what's underneath our stories, what's underneath these stories we tell ourselves, these limitations that we believe in. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. You must unlearn what you have learned. What would that mean? What would that mean in your life? What choices would you make if you believed that? And then start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Maybe take a big stretch, reaching your arms overhead, reaching back behind you. And then take one arm and cradle your head, roll over onto that side, pausing for a moment, and gently push yourself up into a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. May the force be with all of you. The nerd in me recognizes the nerd in you. Namaste. Nerdmaste. I didn't come up with that. Thanks, guys.